This past Tuesday, Decoding Bio's third annual AI Bio Summit took place here at the Stock Exchange, bringing together some of the biggest leaders across the healthcare space. Well, one of those leaders was Iambic Therapeutics CEO Tom Miller, who told our Ashley Mastronardi how his company is using artificial intelligence to expedite the development of medications. Let's take a look.
Iambic Therapeutics is a clinical stage biotech company that's using AI to develop medications. I'm joined now by its co-founder and CEO, Tom Miller. Tom, welcome to the New York Stock Exchange.
Thanks very much, Ashley. It's great to be here.
You have a traditional background in chemistry. You were a chemistry professor at Caltech for 10 years. You're a chemist. When did you have that moment when you realized that AI was going to have an impact in developing medication?
I think we started using AI for the first time in my lab around 2018. For over a decade before that, we had focused on physics alone as a way to guide the design of compounds, using computers to solve physics equations to predict how chemistry would behave. And AI is really a powerful way to improve those predictions and to make possible the search of better molecules for specific biological tasks, like making better medicines.
So to bring a medication to market, it could take 10 years. It can cost billions of dollars. How is AI streamlining this process? And what part of the process is it streamlining?
I think it's important to focus on what it's actually doing so far. In the hands of Iambic, we have taken that typical timescale of 6 years from a program launch to getting into clinic, and we have shown that we can reduce that to 2 years. Our first drug made it from program launch to clinical entry in 2 years. We're now just a year into clinic, and we'll be reporting public efficacy data in the third quarter of this year. And we're showing it's a repeat success. So we'll have a second program also entering clinic later this year, showing that we can do it not once, but multiple times on the basis of our AI platform.
Okay, so AI moves pretty quickly, but FDA approval does not. Have you gotten to that point, or you're more in the clinical stage? Or how is that going to work with FDA approval and regulations for medication?
So we are in human clinical trials. We are treating cancer patients or with patients with disease. We're in the expansion cohorts of a phase 1b trial. And our first approvals could potentially come as early as readouts in 2028. So that journey from program launch to potential first approvals in 6 years has dramatically reduced the prior timescales for that process. And again, seeing that we can do it repeatedly is a major validation of the platform.
How confident are you in AI that it's going to actually aid this process and do it accurately?
I think it's easy to pin a lot of hopes on AI, and it's really important to tether it to reality. So at Iambic, what we do is we not only predict the compounds, but we rapidly make those compounds and test those compounds at the scale of up to 1,000 compounds or more every single week on a 7-day loop. So we can design compounds, make them, test them, and then understand whether or not the predictions were correct in a week's time. And that allows us to get more data, to keep training the models, and to make them ever more accurate. So testing them experimentally is an important part of any AI prediction.
So you're calling these medications that you're developing novel. Can you give me an example of what you're developing and tell me how they're unique?
Absolutely. So our first drug in clinic is a brain-penetrant HER2 small molecule inhibitor. And HER2 is one of the grand challenges in terms of cancer treatment. It affects 200,000 patients a year have HER2-driven cancers. And it spans breast cancer and lung cancer and many other cancer types. We have discovered the first ever small molecule inhibitor that binds the HER2 enzyme in the inactive conformation, locks it in its inactive conformation. All prior ones were so-called type 1 inhibitors that locked in the active conformation. And this leads to better brain penetrance to address the brain metastases that drive morbidity in patients, better therapeutic window so that we can fully leverage the effect of inhibiting HER2 while avoiding dose-limiting toxicities, as well as widening the patient population by addressing wild-type HER2 patients as well as mutant HER2 populations as well. So we have a structurally novel compound that we've designed using the platform that achieves differentiated biology that will both widen the patient population and potentially deepen responses.
And where are you with that medication right now in terms of, bringing it to market?
It's very exciting. In less than 3 years, we've gone from the launch of that program to all the way through dose escalation in terms of our phase 1 trial and into expansion cohorts. And in the third quarter of this year, we will be publicly disclosing the first efficacy data around that program. So we're very excited to be on that journey so quickly.